My dear chap, I wouldn't ask, only it's a matter of considerable national importance.
Oh, isn't it always?
We've had the most tremendous approach from Vienna.
Go on.
Well, now that the Austrians are a nice neutral bunch, they're very keen to be friends with us Brits.
But what's the offer?
Iron ore. We go in, help them put their heavy industry back on its feet, take home all the iron ore we need. The PM can scarcely believe his luck. Anyway, Vienna's sending over an envoy, Count Ludwig. I've been tasked with sitting the Count down, putting pen to paper, and getting him to sign the contract. Somewhere green and pleasant, and above all discreet.
And you thought of Chimneys?
Well, you know, weekend house party, good food, decent cellar. Just like the old days, eh? What do you say? Do the eyes have it?
Well, actually, I was thinking of going on holiday next month.
Oh, nonsense. Nobody goes on holiday in September. Besides, we're practically family, you and I, once we bring that girl of yours to her senses.
We're not as we were. The house is in some disrepair.
Oh, perfect. Faded grandeur. Adds to the flavour.
It'll need to be low-key.
Indeed so. Intimate. Discreet. One or two guests. Sensitively chosen. Of course, these continentals are such fearful snobs. I'll send my best chap round to help with the setting up.
Bill Eversley, yours to serve.
How do you do? But why Chimneys? It's years since we gave a party. Decades. Not since 32.
Show him the letter. The from Count Ludwig. Here we are. Fourth para, halfway down. I have heard that Chimneys is the most prized house in England,
and would count it a singular honor to see that jeweled palace for myself. It is a memory I am most eager to cherish.
Sorry to drop it unannounced. If you're gentle with me, then I'll be gentle with you. Never, ever touch Mother's bicycle again. Are you all right? Can you stand?
Oh, yes,
Well, that's the main thing. Once drop on your pins, then life seems so...
full of possibility.
Indeed. Not that I was purely concerned about poor Mother's bicycle, you understand.
Well, I should hope not.
Well, I think the chap got the message, don't you?
And there he was, galloping into save me on his iron horse. I mean, it really was the most idiotically chivalrous... What?
What, Julia? You are as absurdly romantic as your dear mother.
Oh, no. Wolf, wrong tree. Honestly, I mean, you couldn't be more unsuitable. No cash, no prospects.
Oh, well then.
Yes, quite. Case closed. And anyway, he's been quite standoffish to me this past week. I expect he's bored of me, don't you?
Oh, yes. Does he have a name?
Sir Anthony Payne. Oh, only without the knighthood.
Oh, dear. I was just thinking. Your poor MP.
Oh, George Lomax won't be the least bit put off. On the contrary.
Not another ultimatum.
I have until Sunday night to consent to be Mrs. George Lomax.
Or what?
He invades Poland, I suppose. Well, anyway, the terms are most generous. He'll put Daddy up in a mansion flat in town, which is all he wants since Mamma passed away. And he'll even pay to stop the chimneys from falling apart, which I suppose is jolly good for the family.
If you marry him.
Oh, gosh, you're not grateful, obviously.
Well, I'm not sure gratitude is the basis for a happy marriage. Well, no. Not that I'm any sort of expert.
No. Mummy always said you were the most eminently sensible of all her cousins.
Oh, well, she certainly made a splendid marriage.
Oh, it should be so simple, shouldn't it? Being happy. Anyone ought to see it and just know. Well, now that I've got you here, we are going to have a riot, you and I. Are you game?
I'll do my best. Well, are you quite sure it's all right with your father having me along?
Oh, Daddy's thrilled. And anyway, you had me down to St. Mary Mead's. Just only fair I returned the favour. Here, look, page 17. Isn't he a dish?
Oh.
Anthony Cade. Some passing whim. Virginia's innocent, easily led. It's all part of her charm. Yes, Treadwell?
Your guest has arrived, sir.
Ready. Shoulders back, cometh the hour. Watch and learn. Letters for posting on his lordship's table. Send them express, if you'd be so kind. Count Ludwig!
Oh, look. He's practically licking his shoes. The Count might think it's some sort of quaint British custom.
Es ist eine Ehre, Sie in meiner bescheidenen Nation willkommen zu heißen. A little earlier, but so much the better.
Ganz im Gegenteil, ich komme viel zu spät.
Indeed. A lovely house, yes.
He seems like he's from another age. I wonder if he speaks any English.
Well, how much English do you need to sign a cheque?
Me metal, you $50.
Daddy.
Virginia, I didn't hear you come in.
Hello, Daddy.
So sorry, darling. Ah, dear Jane.
Clement. It's been, well...
Yes, not since the funeral. You've been so kind to my daughter since we lost Madeline. How's your garden?
hardly thriving, I'm afraid.
Daddy, you might have made a bit of an effort.
Oh, pay no attention to me. I'm just the odd job man these days.
Oh, look. I see you've invited that nice lady from National Heritage.
Hilda Blenkinsop? No. No. No.
Barlow, don't get cross. She was very keen to be invited.
Well, she's banned, we agreed.
Yes, but the National Heritage have made a very sensible offer.
Chimneys has been in the family for centuries. It is family.
Yes, but darling, you know we can't afford to keep the place on.
We will manage. We always do.
Well, she's on good form.
National Heritage has taken on 13 homes and gardens in the county.
High society, Eversley. What did I say?
Embellish the scene, sir.
Embellish the scene. Scientists, captains of industry. What do you bring me? Mrs. Mop and Mrs. Bucket.
Caterham says they're both first class, if you get a bit of gin down them.
Oh, does he?
Problem?
Not at all, sir. Very, diverse guest list.
Good. Oh, I should join in.
Was this your doing?
George will have to take us as he finds us. What?
Marry me.
Never propose on an empty stomach. Ask me again after supper.
Don't you have to be somewhere? Sultry, isn't it? What have you done to your hair?
Not a thing. Sweet of you to notice, darling.
You haven't forgotten that you promised me an answer by Sunday night. The clock is ticking.
Forgive me, but you all look so perfect, like you had stepped out of a photograph.
Count Ludwig, allow me to introduce Clement Revel, 9th Marquis of Hitler.
How do you do?
The honor is entirely mine. Gnädige Damen. And these are your two little rebels. Would you indulge your fading guests? Why not?
I've 2 left feet, so why don't you try her? Because everyone else seems to. Oh, it's so rhythm. Such a graceful dancer.
Well, they all are, aren't they? Still, hardly the most practical accomplishment.
This is your first visit to our shores.
No, I am an inveterate itinerant, I'm afraid. Or I was, once upon a time. Gemein, now you are laughing at me.
No, it's just your English. Splendid.
I had a highly disciplined teacher, you see. She taught me only tongue twisters.
Inveterate itinerant.
Inveterate itinerant. Inveterate itinerant. Inveterate itinerant.
Your dinner is getting cold.
And second.
Bundle. Now, will you lead on?
Yes, of course.
Miss Blenkinsop, after you.
Follow me, ladies.
Very good you're with us.
Shelby. A splendid dinner, thank you.
Yes, very filling.
Forgive my asking, sir, your interest in my house, is it for architecture?
No, I have no head for grand design, for architecture. Your paintings.
Sold most of the decent ones.
We still have our Van Dyke.
So I see.
And who is this fellow?
Oh, some old duke.
Richmond, Duke of.
So, if it's not the art or the architecture, then...
Oh, history. Great men rumored to have met within these walls. Treaties, affairs of state, wars even. Began and ended here over coffee and cigars.
Oh, nothing so biblical, I assure you.
Oh, he's being modest, aren't you, Ketchum? Chimneys had quite a reputation.
So what happened?
What was that?
We ran into some bother.
The party of 1932.
Oh, that old yarn. Well, we come back from an embassy posting. Caracas. It was my last one, as it turned out. It was before Virginia was born. Anyway, it was quite a night. Your mother always gave wonderful parties. We had a band out in the garden.
Oh, I remember the story, yes. You were there yourself, weren't you, George? Helping out. I was accompanying Lady Somerset. It was most instructive.
Is that it? Here.
Yes. Where is that?
The Rose Garden. Our lovely Viennese waltz.
A charming singing voice.
Thank you.
Anyway, there was a bit of a to-do because the Duchess of Somerset had borrowed a large brooch for the evening on her.
Large brooch, Daddy. It was the Mysore diamond from India. Possibly the most revered diamond in the world.
Well, whatever it was, by breakfast time it had disappeared.
Stolen by some good-for-nothing parlour-maid named Agnes.
Parliament. What an English saga.
The maid vanished overnight. Isn't that right? And the diamond was never, ever to be found again.
Anyone for more coffee? Oh, yes, please.
So, what sort of girl was she, this Agnes? Or did nobody notice?
Well, only 19 years old. She must have lost her head, I suppose. Anyway, it meant the end of my career in the diplomatic service. Rather shameful.
Well, if the ladies can spare us, to business.
Indeed, yes. I give you business. You want our iron, Mr. Lomax MP?
Well, naturally.
I make one request. Chimneys. Give me Chimneys as a personal favor, and in return, I guarantee you can take home all the riches your heart desires.
Well, I'm not sure.
We are not for sale. Not for sale. Tell them.
Why don't you all try a hand at bridge?
Yes.
Jane, what's happening? What time is it? If you'd all like to gather downstairs.
I'm sorry to have to wake you all up, but one of Mr. Lomax's security staff was found unconscious. Is that so?
That's right, sir. Roberts. All present and correct, Eversley?
Indeed so.
I believe we're one short.
The Count.
Out for the count.
Well, that's no surprise, considering how he was knocking it back. Eversley, see if you can raise him.
He's not in his room, sir.
What?
Where is he?
Perhaps we need a search party.
Indeed. Jeffers, you and Robert seal off the back door, Bundle, the old servants' quarters. Eversley, you and Miss Blenkinsop, the ground floor, and Virginia and I will look upstairs.
Why can't Virginia come with me? And you got
We don't have time for this now. Why are you always undermining
Look,
it?
will you kindly desist? Thank you. Now, Virginia, can you run upstairs, please, and collect Major P's minutes, and Jane will remain here and keep an eye. The rest of us can just as well look by ourselves, agreed?
I brought your medicine.
Thank God for my darling girls.
Daddy.
George? Not now.
That sounded almost like...
Is that a gunshot? Someone close that door! is it? Any sign?
Did you hear it? I think half the county heard it.
Well, it can't have just vanished.
Are there no doorways, no outbuildings?
You don't think...
Our little door.
Take that. Should be torches on the wall. Yes. Help yourself.
Come on, Jane.
What is that? Blood? Looks like it.
Anthony?
I think he's been shot. One.
Oh, Ludwig. Can you hear me? Is he breathing?
Check his pulse.
Can you hear me? Oh,
It wasn't me.
I can't find a pulse. I think he's dead.
It wasn't me!
Virginia! Virginia! Virginia!
You're such an enchanting man.
Virginia!
Who saw a guess? I'm sure there's a perfectly innocent explanation.
Virginia!
I should go to.
Don't you dare. Do! Come back.
Virginia!
My love?
Anthony!
You can't go in there, miss.
Well, may I at least speak to him?
I'm sorry, miss.
Oh, please. Please. Anthony, what are you even doing here?
Virginia, you must promise me something.
Anything.
Please. Promise me you'll forget me.
Anthony. Are you hearing me? Anthony.
Finch. Thank God. Good to see you again.
Inspector Finch, the guru of Scotland Yard. Finch. Looks quite like a cat, don't you think? I loathe cats. I gather he has devotees all over the Home Office. They regard him as some sort of mystic. A bit like Julian of Norwich, only with powers of arrest.
What do we know of the victim?
Born Vienna, 1892. Wealthy parents. Travelled about a good deal in his youth. Something of a wandering spirit. Into politics soon after the war. I can get my chap to find you a place in the town.
No need, I should stay at Chimneys. Murder rarely keeps office out. Hello.
Bit of fresh air.
Politically, this could be a disaster.
Indeed.
So the lady's retired early.
We had some business. Not relevant.
He wanted to buy Chimneys.
He wanted to buy Chimney.
Well, the proposal was that the government would purchase the house and then pass it on to Count Ludwig as a gift.
A bribe?
Don't be absurd.
A personal bribe. In return for which, he hands over a share of their heavy industry. Where do we stand on that, morally?
Well back, I'd have thought.
Is there paperwork for this sale?
Signed, sealed, and in my room on the top drawer. All academic now, of course.
Understood.
As one door closes, another stands ajar, Lord Caterham.
Indeed.
So you gentlemen retired at...
About 11:15.
Until we were woken by the fire bell.
At what time?
20 to midnight.
We all met downstairs.
No sign of the Count, so off we went looking for him.
All save Clement and myself.
Next thing, boom.
The gun shop?
He was in the passageway all along. Just a few yards away.
Any fingerprints on the weapon?
Regrettably not.
Still, we have the culprit. Anthony Cade.
Well, here's one or two questions to answer, certainly. Can I see the body?
I shall take you there at once.
Thank you. Or perhaps Miss...
Marple?
Marple. Yes, if it's no inconvenience.
Oh. Well, not at all.
What was he doing here? Almost an hour after he went to bed.
He showed an interest over dinner in the Van Dyke, the portrait. I suppose the Count could have returned.
Private viewing?
I suppose.
And chanced upon the secret door?
Except that nothing quite happens by chance, does it? Not really. Or is that my tidy-minded preference? I see you don't have a man with you.
I'm sorry?
Well, inspectors nowadays tend to have a man with them.
Oh.
Oh, well, perhaps you prefer to muse alone.
Perhaps no man would have me.
Oh.
His blood. He was shot here. And crawled, staggered, or was dragged this away, where he was found in the arms of Mr. Cade here.
Before falling on Port Virginia? Here.
All fairly straightforward, apparently. Aha.
Is it a letter?
Not quite.
A treble clef.
A virtuoso. Perhaps you could take this and study it for me, Miss Marple.
Very well.
The Count said something before he died.
Want.
Want? Are you sure?
Meaning?
Well, I suppose we all want something, even at death's door. Kiss of life, perhaps?
How did you get here?
I climbed over the wall. I was eager to get up to the house, and this gentleman was blocking the path.
Do you mind, sir?
Well, as I remember, I came from around here. Then I spotted the gentleman. I panicked, and then...
You hit him?
Yes, I am sorry about that.
Using this?
Exactly.
What time was that?
11:33, precisely. I remember because I looked at my wristwatch.
I envy your eyesight, Mr. Cade.
And you see, that's the thing. I know because there was a light on in one of the upstairs rooms. It was first story and then second to the right. Now, I can remember because someone had lit a fire.
Rather a warm night for a fire.
Well, there was definitely smoke coming out of the chimney above. Anyway, at this stage, common sense sounded the retreat.
Did you heed the warning?
Well, sadly, common sense and I are no longer on speaking terms, so I carried on along here and through the door. And then I came down here, opened the trapdoor, and then I heard the gunshot. Good God.
He'd been shot already.
Yes.
Any idea who shot him?
Afraid not.
And yet the revolver 3 feet from where you're standing, a victim at your heels.
I swear I never saw any revolver.
Mr. Cade, may one ask what you were actually doing here?
Yes, well, I did wonder when you'd get around to asking that. The truth is, I couldn't let Lomax have his way without putting up a fight.
His way with Virginia.
Yes. I thought to myself, just sit tight and then burst in at breakfast and give you all a fright.
You certainly did that.
The constable found this in your pocket.
Oh.
Any idea who wrote it?
Dear Cade, come to Chimneys. There's a trapdoor in the garden, 11:45. Shot. What? I didn't know this.
You sure Mr. Cade seems to
Not
think...
my style. A love note is not something you just dash off. See what you're sniggering at.
I'm sorry. Idiot. May I see?
Hand it over. It appears from the postmark to have been sent locally. Express service as late as yesterday morning. So none of you sent this letter?
How's this for a hypothesis? Cade types the letter himself, takes the train down to the village and posts it. All in a cynical bid to ensnare Virginia.
Rubbish. I was having tea with them yesterday morning. At the Lions Corner house on the Edgware Road. And it was very nice.
Mr. Lomax, your room is second from the end, isn't it?
So?
There was a light on there last night, just before the alarm sounded.
Rubbish. Says who? Oh, Cade. Blatant attempt to put you off your game, Inspector.
Anthony.
I told you. I'm not worth the sacrifice.
I would judge that. Thank you very much.
If you would be so good as to remain at Chimneys until further notice.
What about him? You're not going to let him wander about?
Oh, we'll keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on all of you.
first. He was such a musical dancer.
No, I always say the point of a tune is to boost the morale, surely.
Indeed.
May I help? Ah, Treadwell, the very man. Where's that musical handbook of Virginia's? You know the one? Hits of the Blitz? The very Nelly. Come.
Oh. Hard at it, Miss Marple.
Inspector, it's, I'm a little lost. One can hardly see where one bar ends and the next begins. I'm sorry, forgive me. It's hardly music at all. I
Could
almost
it be...
want... Oh, forgive me.
Go on.
Oh, well, I wonder, is it possible it is in fact a message of some sort? In code?
Try to be patient here, one cat. What were you thinking of? You know nothing about the man or his people?
I know he's funny and reckless, and his mother has a jolly nice bicycle, which I happen to think counts as more than a dozen columns in Who's Who. He ran a bar.
Oh, how philanthropic.
In Africa. He had a friend with him. They were business partners.
And does this friend have a name?
Jimmy McGrath. They did rather well. For a time. But Jimmy liked to drink, you see. He gambled it all away. Lost it all in one sitting to a gentleman from Victoria.
You've known him for less than a fortnight.
Daddy.
Ah, Caterham, knock some sense into your daughter.
Oh, well, it's a brave man who dared to.
What would your mother have said?
My mother, you presume to speak about, always went with her heart. Isn't that so? And she raised me to do the same.
Virginia!
Anthony is no murderer!
What's she doing?
Trying to prove her lover innocent.
How does she propose to do that?
I have no idea.
45 seconds from here.
Like it or not, Mr. Cade was still there in the tunnel with a smoking gun.
Will you arrest him?
I'm tempted. He's careless. All the lies he tells. The letter, that business with the light on in the house. A man like Cade requires plenty of rope. Like most of us. Even you.
Am I under suspicion?
I know your secret, Miss Marple. You are a puzzle after of mysteries.
I muddle through one or two. It's matter of association, really.
I envy you, the amateur sleuth. One has nothing to lose somehow. Still, a salary is convenient.
Indeed. If it wasn't for the generosity of my nephew, Raymond...
Raymond, so I've read in a dozen case files.
Yes. Hardly a distinguished name.
Raymond?
No, Chimneys. Until it stands before one, and then it all makes sense. Dozens of them. Splendid. That great tower standing proud, so that... Which was the window Mr. Cade said was lit up on the night of the murder? Second from the right.
The MP's room.
Yeah, and yet, as one approaches the spot where Mr. Cade stood, a window is obscured. Do you see?
On account of the tower.
So that what appears to be second from the right is, in fact...
Third from the right. So, who was up and about moments before the gunshot? At 33 minutes past 11, your bedroom light was on, 12 minutes before the gunshot.
Yes, briefly.
Can you tell me why?
I wished to speak to Count Ludwig, but noticing his bed was unoccupied, I returned to my room.
Any particular reason for wishing to speak to him?
Oh, earlier in the evening he'd asked for an extra blanket.
So perhaps you lit a fire?
I beg your pardon?
At the same time, 11:33.
No fires last night. I would have known, you see.
You know, it's funny, but yesterday I really felt that you knew him. This looks a very grand affair.
That's how they did it in those days.
And this would be the orchestra at the back here? What sort of music do they play?
Waltzes, mainly.
Viennese waltzes? It's him, isn't it? There, Count Ludwig. So he has been here before. And where else but in the orchestra? What brought you back after all these years?
Any thoughts, Miss Treadwell?
He got no more than he deserved.
Sorry?
The girl
who disappeared?
Agnes.
The parlour maid, yes. Whatever happened to Agnes?
That night after the party, I saw a light. tomb I saw opened. Her body, it was down there.
Let me help you.
Clement, are you sure?
Her apron.
No.
Poor child.
All this time, you said she was the thief.
I think it's time you told us what happened.
The mistress, she confided in me once.
Madeline?
What did she tell you?
She said Agnes was with him that night.
With whom?
A musician, a fiddle player.
Oh, the Count.
All these years. Not a word.
I wanted to, sir. I thought if I spoke out, you would contact the police and there'd be more of a scandal. It had already ruined your career, and if a stolen jewel could cast such a shadow, and then the theft of a life. I'm so sorry. Oh, what have I done? So sorry.
Well?
She's certainly hiding something.
Damn. Oh. Wondered if there was any...
What?
Cardboard. Wondered if there was any. Sorry, what are you...
What do you want cardboard for?
I'm making something.
Yes, well, I can't see any, so if you wouldn't mind.
What are you up to, Miss Blenkinsop?
Just looking for some privacy in this big old nasty house.
Hands off.
Sorry, I'll leave you to it.
It's child's play. It's musical mathematics. Don't you see? One simply transposes the music from notes into letters. So, 2 octaves take us from A up to O, while these 11 sharps bring us all the way up to Z. Your coded letter.
Please, I cannot abide flattery.
Thank you. Lady Rebel, thank you.
Very well.
Thank you, Bundle.
For this reason,
My beloved Captain, I can never see you again. Promise me you will return one day for the greatest jewel. Richmond 20, North 3 East.
A love letter in the dead man's pocket.
Incomplete.
If we had a couple more pages, a date would be helpful.
Yes, the manuscript was written in ballpoint pen.
Indeed, so last couple of years.
Yes. A farewell, beloved Captain, an alias for Count Ludwig, if this affair was to be kept quiet.
The Count had a secret lover. Agnes?
Perhaps. What do we make of this? Promise me you will return one day for the greatest jewel. Is it possible?
Count Ludwig came here to Chimneys, not to discuss iron, but on a secret mission revealed within this letter to recover the stolen Mysore diamond located somewhere in this house. No wonder it's in code.
That's why he wanted to buy Chimneys, Richmond 20, North 3 East. The evidence was right before our eyes.
Van Dyke.
And the subject, the Duke of Richmond. 18, 19, 20. So?
So?
Now, don't torment me, Inspector. If you're holding something back.
Want.
His last words. Unless, of course... Unless, of course, he was speaking not English, but his mother tongue.
Not want, but wund. Der Wand in High German. Or Wund in the Austrian dialect.
Meaning?
The wall.
So, you think the diamond is hidden somewhere in the wall? Well, bravo. But you know, I think I know a gentleman who might shed a little more light on the matter.
You were accompanying your godmother, Lady
Somerset. That's right. We all used to call her Robbie.
Must have been quite bewitching.
What?
Diamond.
Oh, I see. Well, it's all just coloured glass to me, Inspector. What have you got there?
Notes from the investigation in 32. Interviews with, among others, yourself. I have no recollection of said Diamond's disappearance. In fact, I was asleep.
I've been charging about since dawn. Really, Inspector.
I see Lady Somerset retired earlier as well.
We had nothing to do with any theft, I assure you. The point is, see for yourself. I was a young rake. She was easily led.
I see. Well, at least I have an inkling.
And he was writing under a nom de plume. Count Ludwig had an alias.
The captain.
Odd.
And a secret lover to boot. It's all in the letter.
Who was she? The lover?
Well, we wondered, Agnes.
Poor Agnes.
Not only that, the Count seems to have had a hand in the theft of the famous diamond.
So he bumped her off, did he? Two thieves fighting over the spoils.
But do start away, everyone.
Yes, and she wasn't the only one, was she? The only victim, I mean. Bill, where is the...
Right here, my dearest.
Chimneys. Not quite to scale, I'm afraid. Night of the murder. We all came downstairs. Yes? And we couldn't find the Count. So off we all went. Separately. Now this is the point. This is where we all were. So, Bundle, you were upstairs in the guest wing. George was there also. Treadwell, kitchen. Miss Blenkinsop, I believe, was on the terrace. Bill, study. And I was upstairs, then down to the council chamber. Then, gunshot. Back we all flew. Front door wide open.
Someone close that door!
Agreed? Now, who's to say one of us couldn't have run out of the house, through the garden, trapdoor, into the passage, shot the Count, and then 1 minute to get back after the gunshot in time to make it look like... we'd been in the house all along. Front door to the trapdoor is, how many strides more? We measured it. 112, 112. 5 minutes, there and back. It's possible. You said so yourself, didn't you, Bill?
Sure. But why would anybody here
Well, the Count wanted Chimneys. Didn't tell me we all heard him say that. And a Bundle. I mean, you're so mortally opposed to losing the house.
I had no idea I was so pathetically grasping.
Well, somebody killed him, didn't they? And that's that poor dead fellow.
My little fox, now what you need is
Enough.
Quiet. Are you making notes, Blenkinsop? No. To think, what a pleasing oral history this will all make back in your municipal headquarters.
Not at all.
When everyone knows you've had your claws in Chimneys for years, grubbing about with your letters and your polite notices, rifling through our drawers, tipping off our creditors. Mother was on her deathbed. Not that you lost a moment's sleep over that. God knows why.
I'll tell you why. I caught her in the study, going through the old housekeeping records, weren't you? 1932? This is all about Agnes, isn't it?
You knew her? Agnes Parker was a child. A child. When she was handed over to people like you. Trusted to your care. And when one morning she wasn't there, it broke her family's heart, and not one of you had the decency to ask why. I feel sick. Well, you might. No, I feel sick. Clement. Oh, it's a sticker. Where's your tonic? Your tonic.
Excuse me.
There's hardly any left. Just take a sip.
Excuse me, damn soup.
I'm so sorry. I'm so terribly sorry.
What kind of soup is this, Miss Treadwell?
Mushroom and sage. But you were quite well.
Oh, I have no appetite by nightfall. One of the hidden costs of old age. Miss Treadwell, help me here. Are you quite sure in your mind that the Count murdered poor Agnes? Look, if there's anything else, then please.
It's been so many years.
Can this not wait until the morning?
Here's wire. Now, what's that doing there?
Indeed.
Dear me, what a business. Foxglove leaves. Easily muddled with sage. Must have found their way into the soup. Foxglove, you see, contains...
Digitalis, natural poison. I'll be indoors.
Jane, here to rebuke me. Castigate away.
Oh. Now, your sister's account of last night.
Please don't mind Ginny. Her nerves are shot.
Now, I noticed that you were upstairs here in the guest wing during the search party. I wondered what became of them. Of the legal paperwork drawn up last night for the sale of Chimneys, which you took from Mr. Lomax's room.
Oh, that. Old maid's last refuge, is it? An overweening love of domestic animals. Not that they ever reciprocated. It was always Treadwell. Every dog and pup we ever had. She used to give them the funniest names.
There's really no need to stay, sir.
No, I'm fine.
She had a weak heart.
Well, not that I knew.
Oh, I wondered merely why the poison in the foxglove leaves should prove lethal for her, while the rest of us...
Well, she was a terrible warrior. Shanghai, 27. She travelled about with us everywhere.
And this one?
Oh, do you know? I have no idea.
Our friend the captain.
Oh,
Looks like him.
not a musical code.
Not this one.
Who's he writing to? Constance.
She was with us for so many years. I forgot she even had a Christian name.
Constance Treadwell. I was so sure she was holding something from us. Constance was Count Ludwig's lover.
My dearest Constance, 9 days until the party at the Palazzo Ducale. It feels like a prison sentence. It has rained every day since Caracas. The captain. I am mad, bedlamized with love. But the lamb is stamping her little hooves. I must sign off now. Be of courage. Until Friday and Chimneys.
Our glorious reunion. I will take you in my arms.
And we will make such light-fingered music.
Treadwell?
I suppose she had much to lose. Her position, her livelihood. And when love is driven underground, it quickens its ardour. Oh, we had a case with our organist and a young page turner at St. Mary Mead.
You see?
Well, one mustn't talk scandal.
Places and times. Venice, Caracas. He must have trailed her for 2 years at least. All the way to Chimneys.
Back to the party. The Treadwell, a diamond thief.
Well, perhaps it was the captain who urged her to do it. What is the lamb in these letters?
Oh, I think that... Oh, I'm so sorry. You first.
Agnes. Old papist word for lamb. Agnus Dei, Lamb of God. Altar boy.
Misspent youth.
So safe to conclude Agnes Parker was the courier ferrying letters between Constance Treadwell and her captain.
And then on the night of the party in 32, the theft of the Mysore diamond.
Agnes is murdered. Widely circumstantial, but the messenger. Murdered by Count Ludwig because she found out about the theft. She knew too much. The Count buries her in the crypt, and of course everyone assumes that Agnes has stolen the diamond.
And then, years later, the two lovers dead themselves.
Or murdered. Wretched soup. Which begs the question...
How can the same dish kill one of us while provoking mere unpleasantness in the rest?
Foxgloves tossed into the soup by the killer to convince us that Miss Treadwell's death was an accident.
But in fact she was poisoned by something else.
But what?
I have no idea.
Pity.
And who among us, I wonder, has been quickest to defend poor Agnes Parker?
Yes, I was at school with her. They lived on our street. This whole business with Agnes, well, it's how they treat them, isn't it?
You never believed Agnes stole the Mysore diamond in 32, did you?
Of course not. But I didn't knock anyone off, and I certainly don't know anything about any poison. Did you?
And yet here you are, on the terrace.
Count Ludwig!
Quite alone, no witnesses. What do we think? Could it be that Miss Blenkinsop climbed into the passage, fired the gunshot, and then back in the house?
I don't think so. Not with my asthma. And yet you saw something, didn't you?
Yes. I realise now it must have been Cade I saw in the garden. It did seem odd behaviour for a security guard. I could have said something, cried for help. I could have stopped it. But I just stood there.
You're absolutely right, Inspector.
I fear Mr. Cade is running out of rope. Mr. Eversley!
Here we are. Dear Cade, come to Chimneys. There's a trapdoor in the garden, 11:45 sharp.
Patent falsehood.
Yes, well, note the capital C. The letter has a little crack in it. Do you see? And again, here, the same little crack.
So?
The note to Mr. Cade appears to have been written on this very typewriter.
Which you yourself were using on the very morning the letter was dispatched.
Oh, I see.
You wrote this, didn't you?
Yes. Well, some of it anyway. But I don't remember anything about 11:45.
But your purpose in writing the letter? To help Mr. Cade gain access to Chimneys? How long have you been acquainted with Mr. Cade?
A couple of weeks. I lost rather heavily at cards. My pet vice, losing heavily at cards. I get so crashingly bored in the office. There's a little room run in Aldwych. Pontoon, poker for the diehards.
How much did you lose?
97 quid. Anyway, in walked Cade. He said he could cover the debt. He said we could help each other out.
Go on. So this gentleman from Pretoria who's holding your friend?
He has a pet passion.
Diamonds?
Yes.
The Mysore diamond?
He gave me 6 weeks to bring him the real McCoy, or Jimmy's life will be forfeit.
So you staged the street assault to endear yourself to Virginia?
Yes, posing as the Good Samaritan to creep into the affections of an innocent young
George, please. I had a splitting.
And the assailant?
Sorry.
But your real purpose was to gain access to Chimneys, where the diamond was first hidden.
I am a decent man. A decent man who did a stupid thing. I had no choice.
Ditto, absolutely.
Anthony Cade, I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Count Ludwig von Stanner.
Get out.
I love you.
And you.
Really?
Nobody say anything. Please. Just...
I think, despite everything, that this must be my favorite room in the world. It's out of bounds as a boy. So naturally, it was where one longed to be. And this heraldic brute? Oh, the battles we fought through shot and shell. Armies, dragons, the whole works. And then one summer, 12 years old, just tall enough to open his visor, my brother-in-arms was nothing at all, just empty air.
If this is you, gently breaking the news that Anthony Cade is no knight in shining armour, consider me rudely welcome.
No. No, I'm saying that love is its own adventure. Take no one for granted, not even those closest to home. Jane, help me.
No. I know what you're saying. Wish me luck. Excuse me, George. Sorry to barge in a matter's estate. I accept.
I beg your pardon?
The offer. If it's still open. I know how sticky you are about ultimata.
But, Cade?
Oh, that was a dream I had. I'm awake now.
Well, I'm delighted to hear it. Well, the first of many. A drink? Champagne? A toast?
What are you doing? You stay there.
A toast to us. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
What on earth was that?
From inside the house.
No, in the passageway.
Kate escaped. Go here. Try the truck. There's always something.
It's stuck.
Mr. Cade, all this isn't going to look very bright in court.
Virginia! I want you to know! I want to give you something! The diamond! What did I give a damn? You're the only prize worth dying for! And it's got to be here somewhere. And when I find it, it's yours! Do you hear?
Anthony!
He couldn't even get that right. What's he trying to prove?
Well, he has proven one thing.
Oh?
His innocence. May I show you? We were all standing just where we were the moment of the fatal gunshot. Agreed?
Indeed.
Everything just as it was?
No. Gunshot. It was too quiet.
Yes, it was much quieter, Inspector. Like Mr. Cade's hammering a few moments ago, whereas the sound we thought was the gunshot made my ears ring. Mr. Cade, you remember, out in the garden, what did he see on that warm night?
Someone had lit a fire.
And then that awful count of flecks that had no business being in the compost. A piece of fuse, Inspector. The Count's killer lit something in the chimney that evening. On a slow fuse, timed to explode 15 minutes later, to deceive us all that what we heard was a gunshot, when what we in fact heard was a firework. Now, what was it you said, Inspector? Like it or not, Anthony Cade was found in that tunnel with the smoking gun. What if the gun was not smoking? What if the Count was killed earlier than supposed? After the men retired from their business at 11:45, but before the alarm bell almost an hour later? Well, suddenly, the killer could be any one of us.
Are you sure?
Well, you recall the Count's interest over dinner in the Duke of Richmond. No great feat to quietly invite the Count back after the rest of us were in bed, show him the hidden bolt, tempt him inside, then shoot him and toss the gun to be found later as if abandoned by the killer. Sadly for the Count, he didn't die straight away. The murderer's only mistake, if mistake it was.
Good God.
The poor man was still living when Mr. Cade found him some time later.
Go on, Jane.
Those letters. I'd been woefully, unforgivably naive. Constance and the captain, the romance of it. One gets swept along, and yet, let me pose a question. A pair of lovers, determined to hide their secret, might they not write under an alias?
Indeed, Count Ludwig called himself the captain.
Oh, so he did, but why just the Count and not Constance? Did she not fear exposure as much as him? Unless Constance was also an alias.
So, the Constance of the letters was not Treadwell?
Forgive me, Bundle. I took this from your scrapbook.
It's a dog, so what?
Well, it's Mamma's first mark. Captain, it was called. Captain, and it was so besotted with Treadwell, Mamma used to joke they were like perfect lovers. Our mother must have thought of these aliases, Constance and her Captain. Our mother
took the alias Constance. Your mother was the Count's secret lover.
I don't understand. Are you saying that the Count and Madeline stole the diamond?
That wretched diamond. We're also bewitched by the Mysore diamond. We forge our theories and forget the facts. It is so important to see things clearly, as if through a pane of glass and not a prism. Excuse me. Sorry.
Good God.
I'm afraid there's no way the Count murdered Agnes and made off with the diamond. Because the diamond has been with Agnes all the time. In the tomb. Just where the killer left it. When we found poor Agnes's bones, do you remember? Your history on it in the crypt. You took it then, didn't you? Then dropped it in the fountain. Why else would you be drying your hands? Daddy? Why?
The night of the party, 32. I'd lost a cufflink, if you can believe it. I went upstairs, and then... I'd not meant to kill her, but she tried to prevent me from seeing my wife and the fiddle player. And then my mind cleared. I took the diamond, left it with Agnes. Naturally, it was assumed that she'd run off with it. Then all that remained was to tell my wife a white lie.
You told her Agnes had been seen
cavorting with the Viennese fiddler, who, of course, went on writing to her for quite some time, but I took care of those letters. They would only have caused her pain. You know, it's funny looking back. She was so easily deceived. These romances, so fragile. There's no real devotion at all. Not such as we all had, together. As a family here at Chimneys.
She was unhappy. Trapped. No wonder she got ill. But after she died, you found the earlier letters, didn't you, from the captain? She kept them safe all these years.
Yes, indeed. Every word.
So that when Mr. Lomax showed you the letter from Count Ludwig, suggesting a visit to Chimneys, you knew the handwriting at once. A precise match of the old love letters. And you knew...
the captain was on his way.
But why the firework? Why 11:45? Mr. Eversley, is it possible that the letter you wrote to Mr. Cade was in fact left unsealed?
Your guest has arrived, sir.
Still on the desk?
Letters for posting on his lordship's desk.
All that remained was to add the time. You wrote and posted the letter to Cade yourself.
And staged the gunshot for 11:45 to incriminate Cade.
What better way to be rid of your enemies? Frame one for the killing of the other.
Cade is no good. You said as much yourself. And as for this plan to ship you off to Africa, now don't look at me like that. You cannot build a marriage on lies.
Aren't you supposed to build it on love?
And Treadwell?
As we thought. Poisoned not by the foxglove leaves, but by your tonic.
Active ingredient digitalis. Huge overdose.
No, I do regret that. She was a faithful servant.
More faithful than you knew. You were so fearful that she would tell the inspector about the affair. On the contrary, she was taking measures to protect her mistress's secret. As soon as Agnes's bones were recovered, she took the letters from amongst your possessions to her own room.
If I'd let her live, No one would have found out. Is that what you mean? Well, that's it then.
Not quite. Return one day for the greatest jewel.
Oh, stop.
What if this jewel was a diamond of a different kind?
Stop!
Whatever it is, we have a right to know.
A rose. Not just any rose.
Richmond Rose.
Richmond 20, North 3 East. So the Richmond referred to is not the portrait.
Precisely. The rose of Richmond.
Well, these directions, where do they lead?
I don't understand.
Jane? The Count's last words, do you remember?
About the wall.
We thought he meant the wall in the passageway, but this Virginia creeper, when was it planted?
Madeline planted it 23 years ago to celebrate your birth.
Virginia creeper.
He knew. I'm sure he did as he lay dying. The rose, the dance. It all made sense. I think your mother wrote to the Count shortly before she passed away. The coded letter. She didn't want the truth to die with her. Not quite.
So you mean
You were the greatest jewel.
He'd come to take you away, my own little girl. My darling girl.
He was my father.
you feel if you were to let go now?
I won't.
And just float off? No.
I won't.
Come on, I know you're putting off the inevitable. Are you going to tell her, or shall I?
Oh, I think it's best coming from me. Blenkinsop!
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Bundle weren't like that at all.
But you're not selling Chimneys.
Well, Bundle couldn't bear to stay on, and I don't want to live here. So what do you think? Pass the whole headache onto Blenkinsop and her tea and scones. Why not?
Will she be all right? Bundle, I mean.
Oh, she'll foist herself onto some undeserving cause.
Her father?
I suppose.
And you?
Here they come. A happy marriage. Can't be that difficult, can it?
Go with your heart.
Like Mother. I keep thinking if she loved her Count so much, why was she so quick to believe he'd run off?
I suppose love is an act of courage.
Yes.
Miss Marple.
Goodbye, Inspector.
Thank you. I see now I've grown too fond of my own reputation. I was so bewitched by the blasted diamond. And now look at me, the latest of your casualties. What do you think? Interpol want me to take it to South Africa and trap this villainous fellow from Pretoria.
You know, Inspector, I don't care for it at all. Goodbye.
My dear chap, I wouldn't ask, only it's a matter of considerable national importance.
Oh, isn't it always?
We've had the most tremendous approach from Vienna.
Go on.
Well, now that the Austrians are a nice neutral bunch, they're very keen to be friends with us Brits.
But what's the offer?
Iron ore. We go in, help them put their heavy industry back on its feet, take home all the iron ore we need. The PM can scarcely believe his luck. Anyway, Vienna's sending over an envoy, Count Ludwig. I've been tasked with sitting the Count down, putting pen to paper, and getting him to sign the contract. Somewhere green and pleasant and above all discreet.
And you thought of Chimneys?
Well, you know, weekend house party, good food, decent cellar. Just like the old days, eh? What do you say? Do the eyes have it?
Well, actually, I was thinking of going on holiday next month.
Oh, nonsense. Nobody goes on holiday in September. Besides, we're practically family, you and I, once we bring that girl of yours to her senses.
We're not as we were. The house is in some disrepair.
Oh, perfect. Faded grandeur. Adds to the flavour.
It'll need to be low-key.
Indeed so. Intimate. Discreet. One or two guests. Sensitively chosen. Of course, these continentals are such fearful snobs. I'll send my best chap round to help with the setting up.
Bill Eversley, yours to serve.
How do you do? But why Chimneys? It's years since we gave a party. Decades. Not since 32.
Show him the letter. The from Count Ludwig. Here we are. Fourth para, halfway down. I have heard that Chimneys is the most prized house in England,
and would count it a singular honor to see that jeweled palace for myself. It is a memory I am most eager to cherish.
Sorry to drop it unannounced. If you're gentle with me, then I'll be gentle with you. Never, ever touch Mother's bicycle again. Are you all right? Can you stand?
Oh, yes, I...
Well, that's the main thing. Once you're up on your pins, then life seems so...
full of possibility.
Indeed. Not that I was purely concerned about poor Mother's bicycle, you understand.
Well, I should hope not.
Well, I think the chap got the message, don't you?
And there he was, galloping into safety on his iron horse. I mean, it really was the most idiotically chivalrous... What?
Oh, Julia, you are as absurdly romantic as your dear mother.
Oh, no. Wolf, wrong tree. Honestly, I mean, he couldn't be more unsuitable. No cash, no prospects.
Oh, well then.
Yes, quite. Case closed. And anyway, he's been quite standoffish to me this past week. I expect he's bored of me, don't you?
Oh, yes. Does he have a name?
Sir Anthony Payne. Only without the knighthood.
Oh, dear. I was just thinking. Your poor MP.
George Lomax won't be the least bit put off. On the contrary.
Not another ultimatum.
I have until Sunday night to consent to be Mrs. George Lomax.
Or what?
He invades Poland, I suppose. Oh, anyway, the terms are most generous. He'll put Daddy up in a mansion flat in town, which is all he wants since Mark passed away. And he'll even pay to stop the chimneys from falling apart, which I suppose is jolly good for the family.
If you marry him.
Oh, gosh, you're not grateful, obviously.
Well, I'm not sure gratitude is the basis for a happy marriage. Well, no. Not that I'm any sort of expert.
No. Mummy always said you were the most eminently sensible of all her cousins.
Oh. Well, she certainly made a splendid marriage.
Oh, it should be so simple, shouldn't it? Being happy. Anyone ought to see it and just know. Well, now that I've got you here, we are going to have a riot, you and I. Are you game?
I'll do my best. Are you quite sure it's all right with your father, having me along?
Oh, Daddy's thrilled. And anyway, you had me down to St. Mary Mead's. It's only fair I return the favour. Here, look, page 17. Isn't he a dish?
Oh.
Antony Cade. Some passing whim. Virginia's innocent, easily led. It's all part of her charm. Yes, Treadwell?
Your guest has arrived, sir.
Ready. Shoulders back, cometh the hour. Watch and learn. Letters for posting on his lordship's table. Send them express, if you'd be so kind. Count Ludwig!
Oh, look. He's practically licking his shoes. The Count might think it's some sort of quaint British custom.